Crushing the meta.
Big welcome to you all to our channel. We are Team Crushing the Meta and I'm D-Boy. And as you can see from my favorite playmat, I'm here for you guys with Spike Brother decks. Well, I've made a lot of Spike Brother decks, especially with the support from Seth13. And if you go to our Facebook page or group, you can check out which decks that I made and I let you guys choose which one do you want to see deck profile on. And the first one that you guys chose was the Rising Nova with the Rising Star, so the heavy combo deck. So yeah, I'm doing the deck profile on that. I'll be explaining the new cards. If you want to know the explanation on the older cards, you can put the comment in the comment section below and I will send you a link with the older cards, or make a deck profile to tell you about all of the skills. This is one of my favorite decks of all time. I also like the Turbo GB8, which also is very nice. Some people would say, well, it's easy to win and it's a cheesy deck. Well, it's not, because there are a lot of hard matchups and your GB8 turn is really, really interesting because you can do a lot of combos to work with the GB8. But yeah, let's go through this deck and explain some of the cards. So yeah, finally we have our second grade 3, which is this amazing, well-made grade 3. His name is Giant Rising Great Star, and as the name said, he's great and he's a star. Well, this card is really, really good, and the reason why it's so good, it's because of its first skill, but the second skill is also good. It doesn't have a stride skill, but that doesn't matter. You don't need it. So his first skill is, of course, he has charge, and then his first skill is charge on the Vanguard, not on the Vanguard. His second skill is counter +1, choose a card from your hand and put it into your soul. When this unit is placed on Vanguard or Vanguard, you may choose a card from your hand, put it in your soul, counter +1, blah blah blah, so the cost. And then you can call a unit from your deck, which is not a grade 3, which has charge, and it goes to an open Vanguard circle. So 3 conditions. It does need to have the charge keyword, open Vanguard circle, of course, and not a grade 3, so he can't call himself. And if you call the unit and this unit is charging, so he himself is charging, then this card gets an extra 3k. So only this unit gets an extra 3k. So that's really good because he is 14 and he could attack and hit a Vanguard, and then if it's 9k they have to discard 10k to guard it, but also he makes a 21 column with the Frog Raider, of course. His GB2 skill is even better. His GB2 skill is at the end of each turn, if you have 2 or less Vanguards, then you can put one of them into your soul and draw a card. So it works against Link Joker. If you haven't seen my matchups against Geistbreaker, it does work against Geistbreaker. It works against Dark Regular, Charlotte skill to retire. It works against Blade Master, Kaiguro. It works against a lot of clans, and it gives you hand advantage. I mean, people that know me, they know that I already create hand advantage out of the old Rising Nova deck. But now, because of him, I end my first strike turn with like 15, 16, even 19 cards in hand, and that's just crazy. Ending your first strike turn with 19 cards in hand. Your second strike is almost always a GB8. Not in this deck, but in the Turbo deck, and that's just crazy. In this deck, you'll go into Piccolo and finish them off anyway, or Miracle Ace, or sometimes even GB8, or second Agrius. But the thing is, the reason why this card is so good is actually because its skill is on place. For people that know me also know that I love playing the Axe Diver. At first, I was the only one who plays Axe Diver, I'm sure of it, before the GB8. Now with the GB8, people like to play him more because he gives you advantage. But Axe Diver is so good for one reason. He calls on place. When he plays, he binds and calls. And that is the thing that makes Axe Diver so good. When you play Spike Brothers, you can call when you attack or at the end of the attack. It's always when you attack or at the end of the attack. It's never between, never on place. But with his skill and with Axe Diver, it's on place. And that makes him so damn good. You guys don't really know how good this card is until you see him in action. He does a lot of work as a Vanguard, as a Vanguard, as everything, as a card in your hand, as a card in your deck. So yeah, I do love this card, and the art is amazing. The only one downside to his is that he is only a double rare, and I think that they should have made this card an SP. I mean, even Amaruda and Valios and all secondary grade 3s, or not even secondary grade 3s, are getting a full art SP, and he doesn't get that, and I'm really mad about that. But yeah, I mean, this is what it is. For the other grade 2-3s that I play, of course I play 2 of the old Rising Nova, so Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova and 2 copies of Hivemaker. Hivemaker is a very important necessary piece in your combo, which I will show you later why. And Rising Nova is of course really good to have as a Vanguard. He does help out a lot, and by having him as a Vanguard, you have more great stars in your deck to work with. Also the art, the SP is amazing. You need to play at least one of him. He could get you the Frog Raider, he could get you anything that you need. He also gives the unit an extra 5k, and his GB2 skill is always nice because it doesn't cost you a counter blast. So sometimes he's a good finisher. Because you could call the Tiger, and if you don't know that your opponent can't guard the Tiger, the Mayhem Tiger, then they are dead. Then we go to the grade 2s. The first grade 2 that I want to show you is 4 copies of Laser Blackguard. So Laser Blackguard is one of the cards from GBT 13, and this card is amazing as well. He works very good with the Giant Star and the Fake Bomber, which I will show you the combo later on if this deck profile doesn't take too long. The thing is, this card have force charge, and on GB1 continuous, if this card is charging, it gets an extra 5k, so that's really good. The extra power, and then auto skill counterblast 1 when this card is put into your deck from the graveyard circle back to your deck. You pay the cost, which is a counterblast 1 and a card from your hand into your soul, so the same cost as the Rising Star and as Misery. It's like Misery but charging. Then you can call a unit from your deck to an open graveyard circle with a charge ability, not a grade 2, that's also important. So not a grade 2, and not on the same graveyard circle that he came from. So that's also important. So there are 4 conditions for his skill. If you're playing this deck, then I advise you to read the cards very well, because it's not misplaying when you play the cards wrong, it's not reading your cards. And this is one of the cards that could be misread, because the 4 conditions are very important, otherwise this card would not work. So playing 4 copies of him, because of the big combo that you do with him and Giant Star and the Fake Bomber, you need to have him in your hand to restart the whole combo. Then next, I play 2 copies of the Mayhem Tiger. I did see myself needing a third one, because I normally rely a lot on Mayhem Tiger to win my matches. But in this deck, you do more of the multi-attack, and you really use a lot of your soul by the Fake Bomber and by Tier. Also by the Axe Diver. And sometimes you go into your Miracle Ace, which means that the Tiger will also be less effective. So in my opinion, playing the 2 Tigers is good enough, because he's still your finisher. You could take him out to put like Heavy Wheeze in here, but damn, Heavy Wheeze, I mean, there is no comparison between this card and Heavy Wheeze, and this is amazing. This is the best common in the whole game, maybe. I mean, of course, I know that people would go crazy. Oh, the best common. Hey, D-boy, don't be crazy. There are better cards. Well, yeah, okay. You have cards like Wise Man and all of those cards that are so good. But in combination with another cards, they are good because of the stand trigger. Wise Man is good because of the stand trigger. If the stand trigger was never created, then Wise Man is nothing. But this card by itself, just being charging, attacking, is good enough. I mean, you know his skill, don't you? Or do I have to explain this card? Well, I'm not doing it. Not today. Next card is, of course, 2 copies of Axe Diver. I love this card. There's so much work that Axe Diver put to the deck. Calling, binding, getting you counter charges, getting you unlocks. There is a lot of things that Axe Diver could do. He is the most heavy combo card that there is in Spike Brothers that they created. I mean, so much things that you could do with him. And to work with him, of course, you have his twin brother, which is lethal forward. And now we also have the Promachita, which I like to call her Promachita. Promachita has the skill whenever she attacks. Oh, it's actually in he, because the flavor text said his running plays, but I'm calling it a she. So for now, it's a she. Promachita has the skill when she attacks. At the end of the battle, if she attacks the Vanguard, you may Soul Blast 1 if it's charging, of course, and it's GB1. So you may Soul Blast 1, you may call this card as rest into one of your Vanguard circle, which is open Vanguard circle. Then you could intercept with it next turn, you could put it into your soul with Giant Star to draw. You could bind and call it with the Axe Diver and attack again. This card with the Axe Diver give it an extra 5k, and she get an extra 5k as well, so that's 19k, boosted by the Frog Raider, which normally also already have a 5k. That's 16, that's 26, maybe 31 column right there for nothing, for the cost of a Soul Blast and a Counter Blast and a Soul Blast from the Axe Diver. If I'm talking too fast, it's because I am very, very, very happy with the support, and because I'm very excited to play this deck and to show it to you guys. Then of course we have the lethal forward, as I said, the twin brother of the Axe Diver. If you don't know the combo that you do with them, it's very simple. You attack with him. When he hits, you may call a unit from your deck. You call the Axe Diver. Then you have 2 skills that activate at the same time. His auto skill, because on plays auto skill, in his auto skill that at the end of the battle you put it back to your deck. But his auto skill goes first because it is still not the end of the battle, because he hits, you call him, so you're still in the hitting stage. And even if it was, then it doesn't matter because you can choose which auto skill to go first. But you use his auto skill to bind and call this card back, and you have 2 attacking. So you attack, you call him, you use his skill to bind and call, you attack again. That's how it works. I mean, if they don't have guard in hand, these 2 by themselves, just these 2, if your opponent doesn't have any guard left, could finish your opponent off. Easily. Easily. Just destroy your whole, or your opponent, just by him hitting. Him hitting, as I always say, when lethal forward hit, the whole nightmare will start all over again. And the work that this guy does, yeah, I love Axe Diver. Of course, Cheetah is another card that gives you advantage. Playing her at 1 is enough in my opinion. And then, of course, we have the Parkour. Call the Parkour unlocked, attack with the Parkour. Then call the Axe Diver, bind and call the Parkour, unlock, 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 attack, unlock. Yep, amazing. For the Great One lineup, of course, we're playing 4 copies of the Cutting Brain. You can play the Unflip PG if you want to, but I like Cutting Brain. This card is amazing. It's so good, it's crazy. It has the skill, of course, of charge, and it is a PG that could work on the Vanguard and Vanguard, but most importantly, the auto skill. I mean, this card have the auto skill. Whenever this card is put from the Vanguard back to your deck, you may bind up to 3 cards from your bind zone, and then you target one of your units, and you give it an extra 10k for every Cutting Brain in your bind zone. So let's say you have already PG'd 3 times, and you have like 3 of them in your drop zone, and you call him, charge him, attack with him, or boost with him. After he goes back to your deck, you bind all 3, and you give your Frog Raider or anything an extra 30k, and then you can call him back, attack with him again, and put him back to your deck, and give your Frog Raider another 30k, and you can do it all over again. You see? It's easy. Easy cheesy. And if you say, oh yeah, but it doesn't work with the GB8 because the GB8 will put him into your soul, well, you don't have to. If you have 2 attackers on the field, you can attack with him, and then put him back to your deck, give the Frog Raider power, attack with the another attacker, and then you can get your Rising Star. The Rising Star would call him back, and you attack with him and give your you know what I mean, right? You know how much combos this deck could do. Don't tell me that this deck cannot abuse cards like these. And don't tell me like this deck would not abuse Dust when Dust come out. I mean, even without the damage that he does, I mean, now there are a lot of players like, oh, Dust is so broken because he does damage. Well, doesn't matter. I don't even need the skill that he does damage. I mean, just your opponent, Vanguard, is grade 1, can't G-guard, and his power is at 1 is enough for me to kill them off. I mean, why? Why do I need to do them 1 more damage? And I don't have to. If my opponent is at 5 damage, I will not use Dust. It's an easy, cheesy win, and doesn't work like that for me. 3 copies of Fake Bomber, another new card from set 13. So good, amazing. This card, again, another common or rare. The card does a lot of work. So this is important piece. The Fake Bomber, the Rising Star, and the Blackguard. All of these 3 will start the whole loop, which I will show you later. The loop that you could do with these. The thing is, with this card, it's like an Eliza, but even better. So if this card is charged, you get an extra 5k, and then GB1, Soul Blast 2, and then when this card boosts, you may call a unit from your hand to an open regular circle. Could be anything, could have charge ability, without charge ability, so you could call tier or anything. And if you call, then you get a counter charge. So he counter charges you 1, and he gives you an extra attack. And that's what's crazy about him is. Eliza, on the other hand, is better because she doesn't cost your card from hand. She calls the units that she boosted, but she counterblasts 1. He countercharges 1, and he gives you an attack. And counterblast mean an extra attack, and he always gets you an extra attack, so that he gives you 2 more attacks. And that's why he's good. And he countercharges. The Soul Blast 2 could be heavy, but don't forget that Giant Star and Razor or Laser, both of them, so Blackguard and Giant Star, both of them cost you a card from your hand into the soul. So those 2 cards that you soul charged are the cards that you will Soul Blast with him. And that's why the whole combo will just go over and over and over again. So you need 2 counter blasters for 2 attacks. That's how it works. So for every extra counter blast, you get 2 attacks using him. And next card, of course, is 3 copies of Rogue Raider, the bitch, the asshole of the whole deck. This bitch would restand all over. Every attack, restand, giving him so much power. By calling the BG twice, you could give him like 40k, putting so much Hillhard 8 power on him. I mean, this card could easily be Mega Colony, or the Zoo Nation got the Z-Dragon that could make their Regard 99k. I mean, Frograider would laugh at 99k. That's nothing. That's nothing with the comparison of the power that he could get, especially by abusing the PG. Because you can just, with your Hellard 8 turn, you can call all of your PGs, put all of them into your soul, and then call the tier, Soul Blast all of them out, and then call 1 more PG from your deck and then abuse it, call it over again, and then you could give like your Frog Raider 3 times an extra 30k, and that would mean that you could put your Frog Raider at 79 just by calling the PG 3 times, make him just 79. Good, right? It's amazing. Amazing to abuse cards and Cardfight Vanguard. The next card is, of course, 3 copies of Acrobat Verdi as a side folder. Why? Because you really need your grade 3s in your hand, because they are so good in your favorite combo pieces, especially Hivemaker, Rising Star. They are so good, and sometimes you really don't want to ride the Hivemaker, so you get him out with your Mega Trainer, and that would work. 1 copy of Tier, because I would not play a Spike Roller deck without Tier. If I really have to, then alright, but this card does a lot of work, especially with your Dirty Picaro turn, and of course because when you get the 3 counter charges with him, because in this deck you could get 3, then at the last counter blast that you have, you will call the Axe Diver, and the Axe Diver will bind and call him back, and you get counter charge 2. So because Axe Diver costs you 1 and he gives you 3, so it's counter charge 2. That costs you 3 soul, but that's alright. I mean, with Dirty Picaro, you'll only be filling your soul. With Hilliard 8 is the same. You could just get a lot of counter charges back. Of course, your starter is a Mega Trainer. I mean, there is a lot to talk about him, but he just helps consistency. For the triggers, I'm playing 5 crits. Always like to play Liar Lips. I mean, she's amazing. I'm playing one with Silent Joker. I've tried 4 crits, also work. 6 crits is 5 crits is better in my opinion. Silent Joker is good, goes into the soul, give you the counter charge. Works very, very, very good with your Dirty Piccolo turn because that's your most important turn. But on the other hand, I like Liar Lips more because she gives more of the attack and hit run that Spike Brothers work with. So boosted by the frog rate attack for 21, and if you go and play the Hilliard 8 turn, you could even make it 21 and not 11. So, and give more power to the frog raider, and then goes into the soul, draw, give power to your Vanguard. I mean, she does a lot of work as well, but not directly. She does it like in a way that your opponent don't really see how good she is. But if you're a Spike Brother player, you know how good this card is. You could play more Silent Jokers if you want to. I mean, it depends on your playstyle, but I like Liar Lips more. And the reason that, because I play Liar Lips, I also like to play at least 4 of the 5k vanillas draws. So in this case, it's Cheerful Linux. And that's because with Liar Lips, this could make the 9k column that hits the rear guard. And after that, you can use Star skill or Agrius skill to get rid of him. But it doesn't matter. You already hit the 9k, which is good. And I play only 3 copies of Schemer because, as I said, in some situations the Linux is better, and some other situations you need the Schemer, which is the new draw trigger for Spike Brothers. Goes into the soul, give one of you units an extra 3k. Could work very good to power up your Frog Raider if you use him twice, but most situations you use him once when you play against decks like Messiah, like Vanquisher, like Angels that could power up their Vanguard. And or if your opponent Vanguard is at 11, at 12 or 13 or 14, then this could help as well. But mostly, let's say they have 1 sacrifice on the field and they could power up their Vanguard by extra 3k, then you know, okay, then I would use him once because I will give my Frog Rider extra 3k. But it depends on your matchups. Like sometimes they will lock your Frog Rider anyway, so why would you do it? So that's why in most situations I like him better and I just guard with him. But I like to have the option that Bushiroad gave us. For the heal trigger, playing 4 of the Dudley heal trigger. This is another thing that Bushiroad designed wrong. Giving her the Dudley name would mean that you could search her up with Jelly Beans, as I said before. But yeah, this card is really, really good. Just being able to give you the counter charge or the soul charge is, in my opinion, way better than Lioness. And the art is amazing as well. Not saying that Lioness art is not good. For the G-Zone, playing 4 copies of Agrius. I tried 2, but I sometimes still see myself needing the 3rd one because it costs you only 1 counterblast. And in most situations, he is better than the Supernova. Because with Supernova, he also costs you a counterblast at least to get 1 more charging unit. But I think that this card design was very harsh. To have 4 charging units on your field is just too much. Because having him as a first stride, you would never be able to get 4 charging units on the field. Maybe now because we also have Star. Star could work and calls you a unit, but that combo costs you 2 or 3 counterblasters, and that's just too much. To go first stride for multiple attacks, or to go first stride to losing a lot of hand advantage, getting nothing back, and charging all of your units and put them back to your deck. I like getting the hand advantage and charging and do multi-attacks better. Because he charges your units, and he does that in another way. You put your units on the field, you attack with them, and you bind them and call them back, and you attack with them again while making them charge. But with him, you can't attack with them first. You have to like attack with him first, and he has to attack the Vanguard, which is another thing that you don't always want to, but sometimes you just want to attack the rear guard. And that's why I took him out. I don't really have space for him. I could play 2 of him by taking the 2 other Agrius, but I really don't want to play him at 2. Maybe play him at 3, but not at 2, because playing him at 3 would mean that you could use him as a second stride, and then you could get the extra 10k by calling your Axe Diver or calling your Giant Star. That could work, but playing him at 2, you will never be able to get the extra 10k to your field. Don't get me wrong, I do like giving my whole field an extra 10k, but in most situations, he's better. The multi-attack is better. And as I said, the combo costs you at least 2 counterblasters to get the, if you play 2 or 3, it costs you at least 2 or 3 counterblasters to be able to charge your field. But yeah, Agrius. So the new strat for Spike Brothers, Blackhorn King. What's his name? Bull Power. Yeah, Bull Power Agrius. This card is really good. When it attacks, so attacks a Vanguard or Vanguard, doesn't matter. Counterblast 1 and bind any number of Vanguards you have on the field. If 3 or more were bound, then you may draw a card and you may call 2 for every face-up card in your G-Zone. So he's like Avenir Phoenix, but better in my opinion, because first you may have your Vanguards on the field. You attack with them. Let's say you have a Frog Raider, a Draw Trigger, and then 2 more units, which are good. You attack with this column first, and the other column, and then you bind the 3, and you leave the Frog Raider on the field. You leave the Draw Trigger in your bind zone because you don't really need it, and you draw an extra card because you bind 3. Then you call the other 2 cards, like in front of the Frog Raider or anywhere else, and you make them charge. So the same as Supernova, you could make like 3 units charge, and with Supernova you can only make 1 charge, and that's why this card is really good. And if you play Rising Nova as your Vanguard, then you could still call something from your hand after using his skill with the Rising Nova skill and restand the Frog Raider as well. And that's why this deck is really good with Nova as well as with Star. Star will give you more hand advantage, and Nova will give you more aggressiveness attacking, especially by using him. I mean, I have used him a lot before we had him or Merendol, and in most situations I think Merendol was better because he charged only 1 unit. The only good time that I could use him is while I have 1 lethal forward in my hand and I want to go for the double lethal forward combo, but I don't play 2 lethal forwards in this deck. So yeah, the 4 Agrius. Why 4? Because as I said, sometimes you don't have the counterblast to go into Miracle Ace or Dirty Piccolo, then you go another one more time to Agrius. So Miracle Ace costs you 2 counterblasters because he costs a counterblast, and any skill in this deck that could charge a unit costs you a counterblast as well. So that's why he's counterblast 2. Dirty Piccolo is a counterblast 2 as well, but Dirty Piccolo sometimes is counterblast free because when you call the tier, sometimes you even get a counter charge from Piccolo. So that's why I like playing the Piccolo at least at 2. And the Piccolo turn, in my opinion, is better than the Miracle Ace turn. But sometimes you have all of your charge units in your hand and you have a very good soul, then you could go Miracle Ace and finish them off. Especially now because we have the Cutting Brain, the Perfect Guard. This Perfect Guard was designed to work with Miracle Ace, which is perfect. But Miracle Ace first strike doesn't really work well because you can't really charge units. Maybe by using the Rising Nova, then you could. And with that, you could power up your Frog Raider and go finish them off first stride. Because his second skill is not really needed. By charging your field, like when you call with Star, you call a Brogger and so Blackguard. Blackguard name was Brogger, but they changed it. So Laser Blackguard, when you call it, you could start the whole combo all over again. So it does work by having him as a first stride, but in most situations Agrius is better because he gets you more cards, but he does power up your Frog Raider, which is really good. And of course, yeah, Dirty Piccolo, as I said, it's a very good card. And play him, of course, at 2. I like playing him at 2. Playing 1 of the GB8, so Hard 8. if you don't know what this card does, you are naive, or you have never played against Spike Brother before, or the guy that you played against didn't really make that much of an impression. People now are making a big fuss about Dust. Spike Brothers could abuse Dust, Gear Chronicle could abuse. Do you guys know what this card does? We use it as a first stride, sometimes as a second stride, but we could use it as a first stride if we want to. Do you know how this card? Do you know what this card does? Yeah, Power 8, it's just too good, way too good. The best GB8 out there, definitely the best GB8 in the right clan. I mean, turboing into him is just fun. Then one Merendol and one Seabreeze. Because I don't play any Supernova, then I do need the Merendol. Also, I play Tier and I play Parkour, so it's nice to have them, to have the Elementals in your G-Zone if we want to go into them. For the G-Guardians, playing one Desmiel, always play one. It's very good for the matchup of Vanguard. Does work against Kagero sometimes, but even against Ninja Joker sometimes it does. So it's very good to have him. And also it's a Crane Elemental, so you can flip him with Linus to get more counter charges. 2 Linus, sometimes to help you out to go 3rd stride GB8. Could also go 2nd stride GB8 by having only 2 Linus. You don't need the 3rd one. But if you want to go 1st stride GB8 or after Seabreeze go GB8, then you need 3 Linus. Linus guards for most of the time. If you have like only 1 or 2 Regards on the field, he will guard for 60 or 46. So if they attack like with 31, it's 3 to pass, and if it's just 26 with their Vanguard, then it's no pass. And then you have him, which you get only extra 10k. This is the new card from the set 13, the new G Guardian for Spike Brothers. Only a rare, again, I mean, why? But Hecaton Gus, they changed the name as well, but I still think that it's pronounced as Gus or Gus. I don't know. But our new G Guardian right here is amazing. This is the card that I really wanted in Spike Brothers, and I've talked about this before. Spike Brothers loses when they lose their combo pieces. If you have all of your combo pieces in your damage zone, your drop zone, your soul, then you can't really win because you don't have anything that does anything. But Gus right here help us out to put 3 units from the drop zone or your soul with different grades back to the bottom of your deck. And with that, if you put 3, then he get an extra 10k. So it's like Uluru, but better. You get 5 more k and he puts 3 units with different grades, so he could still put triggers. But mostly you put your combo pieces back. So that's actually the deck profile. This is the deck that I'm playing. It's more of a fun deck for me because if I would go and play competitively, then I think that I will go with the Turbo GB8. Why? Because the Turbo GB8 in this format is better. But this deck is way more fun to play. It is way more balanced because you can finish off on your 1st, 2nd, 3rd stride. It's designed to be able to work around different opponents, different decks. So that's really good. I will do a combo video to talk about the combos, but I will not include that in this video. So if you guys really want to see the combo video, just put a comment in the comment section below and I will do that. Otherwise this video will take too long. So yeah, thanks for watching guys. This was D-Boy signing out, and don't forget to tell me what you want to see next and if you want to see a combo video. Thanks guys, bye bye.
Crushing the meta.